I have to tell you something. I was a fan of his work before, but there's nothing like meeting him and hearing him in person. He is powerful, he is passionate, and he has changed the entire course of history with what he's done. Montel is an American television personality, radio talk show host, and an actor. He's best known for being the host of the long-running Montel Williams Show, and more recently is a spokesperson for the Partnership for Prescription Alliance, the PPA. Montel is also active with the nonprofit MS Foundation, which he founded after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1999. And he's also noted for his service as a veteran in both the Marine Corps and the Navy, from which he was honorably discharged after 15 years of service. And without further ado, please a round of applause for Montel Williams.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to make one little correction. After 22 years of service. So I'm going to put that in my name. I'm going to take credit for every single day that I wore a uniform.
Yes, sir.
And I still wear one today. So I thank you so much for being here. All right, so I'm going to close the doors and I'm going to ask, maybe we got to do something real quick because I don't know how many people are sitting here just sitting for a while. Let's stand up for a second. Those in the back rows, come on up a little closer, please. Because I'd rather talk to you, not at you. And you're sitting in the very back. Come on up. Just move up a couple rows. Come on, please. Pretty please, if you can. If you can, move up a couple rows. Good. Good. Now that you're all standing, I want you to do me a favor. Follow these directions by the letter. I don't want you to miss one of them, okay? By the letter, and I'm watching you, okay? I'll put this down for a second because I got to show you something, ready? Everybody in the room, take your hands. Put them right here. Right here in your shoulders. Let me get up here so it'll look pretty great. Then I get to see you. Hold on with everybody. Hold on. Everybody, put your hands right here. Okay, good. Good. See it right there? Do like this for a second. Just a second. Rub your shoulders for a second. Rub them, rub them. Now, place them out in front of yourself. Do like this, like this. Now, I want everybody in the room to turn physically to your left. Physically to your left. Now you're on the way. I said follow the directions. Who told you to put your hands on anybody? Touch some people. Now, have you turn to your left, take your hands and place them on the shoulder of the person in front of you. And now, very lightly, shake them up. Stop! Stop it! Turn to the right. Hands in front of you. Who said touch anybody? Now put your hands on the shoulders. Shake them up. Bring them up. Good. Turn back forward again. Hands out here. Shake yourself. Wake yourself up. I said. First of all, I have got to applaud you, Florida, for number one, passing a bill that at least starts the process of allowing patients and doctors to have unfettered access to medication. So thank you. And I say thank you for a real personal reason, because a lot of you don't know, but I'll let you know this right now. This weekend, on Saturday, I officially moved to Florida. Driver's license and registered to vote, I will do so within the next 4 to 5 days.
I'll give you mine.
And on top of that, within the next month, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we get in and talk to this governor and this legislation about making this a real bill for patients. Yeah. Okay? Why do I say that? Because I think there are some people in this room who just came out to hang out because Montel, the talk show host, is here. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And some of you have asked me along the way, you know, what's my connection with cannabis? And sometimes it startles me a little bit because in some ways I get startled, but other ways it makes me a little bit more happy. Because that means there's a movement going on and you have no idea what I'm doing behind the scenes, and I never did this to take any credit for it, so I'm really happy for it. But I need to let you know that long before this became the green rush that it now is getting ready to become, even in this state, like in so many others, where yes, we have a lot of good-meaning people who want to be able to make sure that patients have access to medication, but some of them have an underlying motive of making sure that they can have access to as much other type of green as possible. The cash that goes along with it. And what we start to forget is that this entire movement began with patients. And long before people down here even considered passing the medical marijuana law, back in 2000, I literally started working then with every single state that has passed legislation for cannabis around this country, either by testifying, being present, going in and helping to write the bill and legislation, talking to governors from Maine to New Jersey to New York to Missouri to Ohio to Pennsylvania to California to Arizona to Oregon, and I will continue to do so. Now, I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. I'm saying this because I want you to understand that why, Montel, why would you do this since 2000? Well, in 2000, it's trouble. I was on an airplane, flying across the country, and going to do an episode of a television show. Do you guys remember a show called Touched by an Angel? Raise your hand. Remember that? Della Reese, Robert Downey, right? All right, let me tell you. If you remember that television show, Robert Downey at the end of every single episode, see me like, yes, and the person would be forgiven, and all of a sudden they start crying, and they would give back the money, right? Everybody got saved at the end of the episode. I'm the only character on Touched by an Angel, but Robert Downey went, no, that's that it. Go ahead. I got sent straight to purgatory. And why? Because I played this character that was a cult leader. And this cult leader out in the middle of Missouri, out in the middle of Utah. Yeah, right? Anyway, it was a trip. Go back. You ought to pull up that episode and take a look at it. Because I'm the only black face in the cult, okay? So, I got the script, 2 weeks before, and I'm reading the script, and I'm going, holy moly, this thing's got me doing all this really crazy emotional stuff, and a lot of people don't know I did a little acting back then, done multiple different shows, but on this one, I wasn't seeing an acting coach, I'm going, dude, this thing has me crying almost every other scene, and I got nothing to cry about. And he's trying to teach me all these methods. I got this method acting guy or whatever. So it didn't really sink in. Now, I kid you not. The night before I got on an airplane to fly from New York to Utah to shoot an episode of Touched by an Angel, I should say, back then, I walked around. If you go look up some old pictures of me, I used to walk around about 220 pounds. I mean, at 220, at a 28-inch waist, I used to put so much weight on my back. There was a point in time where I used to squat 690 pounds. Because I used to think that the more weight I lifted or the more size I had, made me more of a man. Whatever. At that time, I was going to the gym every day, working out with a guy who was a maniac trainer. So on the Thursday night before I got on an airplane, it was very particular. So I had to be in Utah on Friday. First shoot day was on Sunday. Weird, because we were shooting this place that we could only use the scenery on Sunday. I worked out really hard that night, did a really big leg day. And I remember when I walked out the gym, my leg hurt, and then my foot hurt. And I woke up, a little ache in my side, little kick in the neck. Got on an airplane, flying across the country. About midway through that flight, my feet went on fire. And I don't mean I dropped a match. I literally, my feet started the most extreme neuropathy and neuropathic pain that I've had registered that was so extreme that I literally thought somebody was taking a fire poker and shoving it up through my heel and just digging it right up my shot. It hurt so bad that when I got off that airplane, I was fortunate that I was going to stay with a friend in Utah who happened to be a doctor. I stepped off that airplane and I said, dude, you gotta help me. I don't know what's going on. For the next 10 hours, I was laying on the floor in so much pain. The next morning, he took it to a friend of his who was a neurologist. I didn't know this at the time, but he was a neurologist. And the neurologist literally, watch this. I'm not the one to talk to us now, right? Got a TV show on every day, walking in. Hang on, this guy looked me in the face and said, man, you have MS. And I don't know if you know anything about it, but I'll be back. And walked out the room. I went, what? Didn't tell me about my pain, didn't answer the question. I don't know what he saw, but he saw it. And then comes back in to proceed to tell me that from this moment on, my life should be over. Basically, time to go home and die. Oh, your talk show, you're going to stop that. Oh, you're probably going to lose your trust. I mean, I was ready to punch him in his face. And at the time, it wasn't as big as my man Mark in here, but I was rolling around about 220. I could have hit him and knocked him through the wall. But I didn't have the strength to get up. My now ex-wife had to help me out. And for the next 2 days, I had to try to figure out how I fulfill this contract for this TV show. So guess what? If you pull up that episode of Touch My Angel, there's all these great scenes in here. One of them at the end, where I got the whole congregation. I've chained off the church. Got the mothers and the kids over here. I'm setting fires. And after this big crying scene, and these idiots in the props kept messing up the fire, the director kept having me do it over and over again. And I kid you not, I did like 6 takes on this, and I'm crying on cue. This is one of the top directors. He said, man, I can't understand how you do that. I was like, just feel these feet. Because literally, I can walk around all day long and keep this bearing down in some ways. When I have to slow down and check into it, I hurt, So, what did I do? Listen to the top doctors. I'm going to tell you, I won't name them because I got a tape going and I don't disparage anybody. I refuse. But they put me on every opioid there is. There was one point in time, go back to the night, this was now really 2000, 1999 and a half. The strongest we had was this brand new Oxycontin, and we also had Talwin. I don't know if you had people in here who are nurses who understand what Talwin is. Closest thing to off the vine heroin that we had at the time. And they took it off the market because it's the same as this trash that's out here right now. Well, when I went through 5 to 10 of them a day, to the point now that, what is this? 17 years later, I'm gonna have to go have surgery, put damage that opioids did to my body. Now, I was stuck for 1.5 years in this trash. And believe it or not, I saw one of the top doctors in this country, from one of the top universities in this country, who said to me when he closed his door, listen to me, you gotta stop. I heard about marijuana. I don't know. You want to try. Do as much of it, I don't know, talk to somebody, you gotta stop this, it's gonna kill you. And I'm on shooting 9 TV shows a week. Thank you. stepping in before audiences, shooting a schedule that no one has ever been able to copy when it comes to talk shows. Talking to 24 guests a day on some of the most horrific topics in the country because no one else will talk about them. Taking breaks in between commercial breaks to cry. So I wouldn't cry on set. I got a lot of credit because, I'm a really emotional guy. Where am I feeling? Okay? So when that doctor said to me, Cannabis, 2001 and a half, I have not gone more than 2 days without completely titrating myself with marijuana or cannabinoids. Now, and I thank you for that. But what I'm trying to say is that long before we thought or even knew what CBD was, I was searching for CBD products back in 2002 and 2003. Back in 2009, I spent an hour and a half with Dr. Mashul himself in his laboratory in Israel, and one of the only people to have him on film and interview him, and I can't even put that film out. I lived, breathed, and consumed cannabis every day, and every single doctor that I've seen, from doctors at the Nobel Institute, to doctors at Harvard, Johns Hopkins, UC San Francisco, the Mayo Clinic, not one of them will tell me that I'm doing anything wrong because they have no MS patients like me. Now I'll also say that I've also been working on, just so you understand, I'm working on everything and anything I can do to better the lives of people who suffer from illnesses like mine and any illness. So now for the last 7 years, I've been involved in a very experimental protocol with a medical device that turned my life completely around. That, along with cannabis, is something in my arsenal. It's completely non-invasive, but it is experimental. And I'm an N of 1, meaning the first person to actually be able to use this for as long as I have, but I've been working so diligently that right now we are in third-phase clinical trials and trying to get FDA approval on this device as quickly as we can, so that other people can get the exact same relief that I have gotten and benefit that I've gotten. But even with that device, I can't go right now more than an hour, depending on what type of cannabinoid it is I'm using, without titrating myself. And I don't want to ever find out what it's like tonight. And I don't believe I need to. I've run 5 companies. It has not done one thing to me as far as my executive function or my ability to be able to communicate. And it's made me even a more responsible, viable citizen by being involved in as many things that I'm involved in to make sure this country becomes as healthy as it should be. So, now we're at a very, 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 very critical juncture. How many people are here today because they came out to find out something about the industry because they're interested in getting into this business? Come on, raise your hand. Understand? Come on, man. Yeah. And some of you are out there looking for and seeing if you have an opportunity to get yourself a license, be a provider, see if you can be a grower, see if you can work in the industry. Raise your hand. All right. I'm going to go back to the first part of the conversation. Because I believe, and I'm sorry, I should have stopped and introduced you, ma'am, with your child here when I started. But I really hope that this room, at the very first cannabis conference in Florida, just all of you stop and recognize that who's been up here in the front of the room, communicating, trying his best to let us know that he's here, whether we like it or not. You better just accept it. This is what you're doing this for. And I want to talk about something right now that may anger some of you in the room. And let me just make sure you understand when I say this part, I really don't give a damn about making you mad. Hear me? Listen to me right now. You have an opportunity right now in this state, right now, to set an example. I'm going to fight at the legislative level to ensure that they allow me to get the medication in my body that I now use for 17 years in the way I choose to. But what you have to do is you have to demand of yourself that A, you get an education. And understand that there is a product that's being sold all over this country as medication, and it is an oil extract that's made from BHO. And I will argue, I have an engineering degree from the United States Naval Academy, I have 22 years in the U.S. military. I'll argue with anybody in this room. You tell me how clean you think you're making this trash with BHO, and you're not. So, while you have an opportunity now in this state, while the rules are being written, think about, I'm sorry, is it? Noah. You put some trash, 300 parts per million, 500 parts per million, because somebody lied to you and told you that that's safe. You give him that. And give him that in about 4 days. And let's see if mom and pop don't come back and smack you. Because, listen to me, the technology is here. Why are we trying to live in the dark ages? It is time to grow up. This entire industry needs to grow up. Listen to me. Supercritical CO2 extraction. Cryoethanol. Rosin. And if you can find me a licensed operator of hexane that's been in the industry for about 20 years, I might accept it if you then show me an independent review, report, and analysis of the final product. Because remember, you guys did a great job in passing the law. What you did is you allowed yourself to self-police. It means the people opening up these so-called laboratories don't have the degree that you think they have. Don't have the knowledge or the science about cannabinoids that you think they have. And if they did, they would be able to determine that when any BHO product sold in this country today is really analyzed, it's running at least 300 to 400 parts per million. And I'm telling you, you can't do it. And I won't accept it. I will get angry. I go to California, I purchase a product in California. If I walk out of that dispensary and I take it back to my room, I can know within opening and smelling if that was BHO and somebody lied to me, and I might go throw it in your face. Because you don't have the audacity, you have the right to call something a medicine. Look, oh, I'm so sorry, I should say this. If you're in this to sell weed because you're waiting for the day that the next bill passes and now you have adult use, play on. Have your fun. Keep the name medicine off your product. Okay? So I'm not going to belabor it anymore by trying to preach at you. Now I'm just going to beg at you and beg you to remember Noah. Because that's who you're going to be selling that product to. So not only that, I want you also to do something today. There's lots of different booths out there. You should walk around and collect as much data as you can. But then what you really should do is all of you should literally go back home, use your smart devices, and start to educate yourself. Because, really, let me explain what to you. I've heard people walk around and say, I use weed medically. No, you don't. You use medicine. It may be a weed, but it is medicine. And you should start to realize how long this medicine has been available to mankind. How long it's been talked about. How long it's been discussed. Why is it even illegal? I will guarantee you that 80% of this room doesn't know that it is made illegal by something called the Marijuana Tax Act. Not the Marijuana Dangerous Drug Act. And one person worked for 30 years to vilify it, to sign a treaty in 1963 at the UN to ban the use of hemp worldwide. And we sit back and don't even educate ourselves. Most of you don't even know that if you have never in your life touched any marijuana product, even put it to your hands, face, or smelled it, we can test you spectrographically and I can find a certain type of cannabinoid in your body. Because you as a little rodent out on the savannah when you were running around hiding from lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, you were munching on cannabis to sell your stomach the same way animals will. We had the ability to, we have something called our endocannabinoid system, which is one of the most powerful systems in your entire body. Science has now been understanding this. Our own country has been researching this for 30 years, and they're lying to you. And you sit back. I was saying on an interview the other day, it just drives me crazy. But please, somebody tell me, the world is not flat, right? It's round. And we do all agree to that. It's round, right? Still, I don't know. In the last couple months, it might have changed to flat back. Well, just the same way as we can look at that, there is a fact right now, and has been sitting before our federal government through the FDA, waiting for approval, is a product that's called Cannabis that's come here from London by a company called GTAV Pharmaceuticals. Raise your hand if you know about that. Go ahead. Let me see you, because you know about it, right? How many of you, keep your hand up, keep your hand up, keep your hand up. You just raise your hand, don't put it down. How many of you with your hand up right now know that Bayer Aspirin is the owner of GTAV Pharmaceuticals?
Hard.
52%?
Yep.
Sorry, in my book, if I'm over 50.01, I'm the boss. I'm just saying. All right? So if you know that, then it's really just absolutely crazy to me that we haven't looked ahead. We're so blinded by the green rush that you don't see the freight train coming. And the freight train's coming, folks. And there's really a big reason why. Can I have another napkin for a second, please? Thank you. And the big reason why is because I speak all over this country on an issue that most Americans haven't been paying a little close attention to. Because all you hear is the chatter and the noise about health care, Obamacare, got to repeal Obamacare, got to make new health care, I don't know what to do. Folks, let me explain something to you. Right this minute, 2017, I want you again, there's nothing, go ahead and Google for yourself when you leave here. I want you to look up chronic illness in America today. Okay? Just Google those words, chronic illness. You're going to see about 30 websites come up, and I'm going to give you generalizations of all of them together and the numbers that they all seem to be running with. Currently today, in the United States of America, about 54 to 55% of this country suffers from one chronic illness. That's heart disease, osteoarthritis, some form of cancer, diabetes, obesity. I didn't say cancer, that was it. Oh, and neurological disorder, okay? So that's 54%. Now, I'm telling you, if you Google it tonight, you're going to see some articles that say by 2020, those numbers will be as high as 65% of our nation will have at least one chronic illness, and 80% of them will have two. Now, y'all know how many people live in this country? 348 million, something like that, 342. 68%. Guys, this is 240 something million, 250 million. Come on. They are all going to have an illness? And now that 80% about health care. Oh, let me show you this. Watch this. So that's one train running down the track. Right? All the sick people in America, right? To 2020. Watch this. Wait a minute, I gotta come over here. Going this way, there's another train. It's called, forgive my language, I think Noah is the youngest person here. Noah, I'm sorry I have to say this. No, this is called lazy ass. Americans. Lazy ass. Oh, all those complaining about, I need to do a job. Lazy ass. Now, one of your children going to school right now trying to be a nurse or a doctor. Lazy ass. Because guess what? In another 4 years, last 2020, look at it. The National Nurses Association is claiming we could be somewhere between 600 and 700,000 nurses short. 2020, 300 to 450,000 doctors short. We're not graduating them. They all want to be Kim Kardashian. We're not graduating nurses. How many people in this room have a child going to college or school right now for nursing or doctor? Raise your hand. Look, how the hell do you think they're going to be able to treat 280 million people? Now, guess what? When these trains come together in a big old crash in 3 years, this is so crazy, y'all don't see it? We got a government who knows there's not enough opioid in the world. There's not enough doctor in the world. They want their cut. When they can get their piece on marijuana, they're going to have the masses get as much as they want. You think I'm kidding you, but I'm not. We now know that cannabis is probably one of the most all-inclusive, not necessarily, it's not a cure, but protocol treatments could be first line of treatment for multiple different illnesses that this 280 million people, 60 million people are going to have. So, there seems to be no reason why, one, we now have a state initiative, and dang, let me just stop for a second. I know I'm stopping for a second just to step back and kiss myself because I was just able to say, we now have a state initiative. I'm a Floridian, yes. So, with our state initiative, listen guys, let me tell you something for a second. 2002, I'm on an airplane, flying cross country. I've been in California, 2001. I've been in California. I had been to the dispensary. I was baked up good, had some edibles coming across. I bought myself a brand new $395 hand-blown pipe. It was this egg that was the baddest tool I've had in life, okay? In my bag. Now, here, I'm going to the Detroit airport. How many been to Detroit airport? Inside the terminal, stinks. They ain't got no real food. Trash, right? So I went out security, grabbed something to eat, coming back in and get back on my plane, have a little layover. Seriously. TSA. Little snobby little. My bag comes in, I steal like this. This goes like this. Excuse me. Here comes that security. What's up this window? Let me take a look at his bag. We'll go back over here. Here's my brand new pipe. Never used. Okay? Price tag still on the bottom. So I'm getting this now all of a sudden. Well, we have a paraphernalia law here. I said, oh, you do? Really? You have that in Detroit? Okay. Yeah, well, you go ahead and get whoever you need. Here comes the state police. Listen to me, guys. It's Montel Williams at the airport. It's not like two people come whispering. Here comes the state police. I got 6 guys and a dog. And the whole airport going, it's Montel. So, see, had I been carrying, then they shouldn't have placed me near a plant. Because had I been carrying, I would have taken advantage of that opportunity while away from them to make sure that anything that I had residue in my pocket had ended up in that plant, had I been carrying. But, you know, I hadn't been. So when the dog showed up, I had nothing but a clean pipe. Oh, I still got rid of the ticket. I still got a summons to go to court. Now this makes national news. Montel Williams busted for marijuana in Detroit. All right, now, lawyers involved. That goes all the way up the wayside and gets to the judge. I was summoned to go to court. Unfortunately, they let me send an proxy. And the judge threw the case out with prejudice, commenting on the fact that, number one, I was passing through the state, not having been in the city of Detroit. I was in the airport, which is federal territory, not there. A. B. I also have been known marijuana cannabis user for medical reasons and should not have been harassed for my implementation or medical device. So, let me tell you something. When that happened, not one person in this industry, well, no, I'll tell you that, DPA and MVP stepped up really quickly, that doesn't work for them, but no one else in the industry stepped up and even said, Montel, sorry that happened. 4 years later, 5 years later, no, 6 years later, I'm flying through Wisconsin after I started working on this project. This is until 2011. After I started working on my medical device project. I'm flying through Wisconsin. It was over Christmas. Watch this. My father-in-law gave me as a Christmas present a really nice pipe. It's badass. And wait, these are Tennessee folks that have never seen anybody in their family ever smoke marijuana. They drink, I smoke. Okay? So, I'm over Christmas, opened up a nice pipe. Of course I had to use my pipe. So I'll say, I also only have, for now the last 17 years, only smoked or vaped keef. I do not smoke leaf. So I use keef through the entire Christmas holiday. It's very funny about keef. Now, wait a second. Make sure this part of this video, you keep this really tight. Okay? No, don't. I don't want you to tell people about this part because this stuff can't get out. Okay? Not this for a second. All right, I'll tell you about keef. When you burn it completely, it leaves no residue in the background. So I'm going to the airport. Wait a minute. I'm going to the airport in Wisconsin, and I kid you not, this has been in the bag for 7 flights. I've been to the airport 7 times, nobody saw it. It was like way after Christmas, middle of January. And the next thing you know, again, this licky loo. Wait, Detroit. 3 cops, state police. I have a pipe. There is residue in the pipe. They asked me, are you holding? I mean, am I holding? No, of course not. Well, let's take a walk. Now, had I been, then they probably should have checked me right there. Had I been holding, they probably would not have wanted me to walk by all the plants and things that I walk by. However, I wasn't, so I got down the stairs and I wasn't holding. So we're downstairs now. Police then scraped my pipe with a knife, scraped deep, put it in their packet, shook it up, and lo and behold, zippity-doo-dah residue. So now we're in a quandary. I've never said I smell pot out of that. You're telling me it's a pot pipe. I'm telling you it's cloves. You're telling me it's pot. I said, no, I think it's mint. I don't remember. I get busted. Now watch this. I get a ticket, a summons, the whole 9 yards, and this is even crazier. In Detroit, they made me sign this doc. I had to go upstairs to the ATM, take out $495, and watch, and hand it to the cop to pay before he would let me leave. Now, I'm standing, no wait, get this. Montel Williams, 3 cops around the ATM. I'm going to take out money and hand it to him? I said, sorry, I don't know if you really want people taking a picture of that. Go stand over in a restaurant, give me the money, I'll give it to you. And I literally did that. This goes to the judge, 2 days. The judge's mother has MS. And the judge throws this case out 100% with prejudice and writes a statement about the fact that I should have never been stopped to begin with. Now, wait a minute, but that happens, and again, MPP, DPA, nobody else comes out. I get no support from everybody else in the industry. Oh no, I take another hit. I'm on national television talking about cannabis for years because of this. Nobody comes up to help. Now last year, summer, I'm in Germany, flying through Germany. No. Watch this. Dude, I had just come on, I'm on the road, you have to know this, I'm on the road 25 to 26 days a month. I happened to grab the bag that I've been traveling with, not the bag I was supposed to be taking to Europe with. I had this bag had a 4-gram disc of Chief in it. I swear to you, I made it through JFK, all the way over to Germany. I'm in Germany, I'm going through the check, this Broomhilda. Woo! What's this? Now watch this. This is at 6 a.m. in Germany. This is already on TMZ. I pulled out to the side. I got the head of security. I got the head of international affairs in Germany. Watch this. So, I'm thinking, yes, please, you have to do me a favor. Back in back, Mel, please give this lady back in back. Melanie McLaughlin, a big round of applause. Mel, raise your hand, please. Mel is the president of my company, and the president of my life for the last 17 years. No, now 20 years. 20 extra years. 27 years. Oh, damn, really? Yes, and I call Melanie, I'm in a panic. Listen to me. I'm in Germany. I got 2 swastika dudes. No, 2 more dudes. Who's dead? And I got this lady. I got an undercover German cop who's looking like he's ready to throw me to the floor. The woman's looking at me like this, and she sees all over this wall, there's all these people these cell phones, which must be Americans. So she got a chills for half a second, and she says, I start talking. I'm talking about America, and I use medical cannabis, this is medical marijuana, I'm here, I'm passing through, I'm really going on a correction, it doesn't matter, I'm here, literally, I'm just going to take it, I'm not going to use it while I'm here. She said, wait. You have medical, yes. I call Melanie, Mel, please, listen, wake her up in the morning. Please send me a copy of my recommendation for California. So she has to find it, pull it together, send it on my phone. I'm flashing my California recommendation to this agent in Germany. She's looking at it. Meanwhile, the undercover guy and the other guy have been Googling the face. And then they go over to the woman looking at the thing, and they look at that, and they look at me, and they look at that, they look at me, they look at that, they look at me. She said, "This you a doctor?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "This you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes like this, "Hold on the phone." Now there's a phone. Meanwhile, somebody is sending this to TMZ still. Long story short, I kid you not, the woman comes back in very broken German English that I will not try to replicate. She basically said, "We know who you are. I see this. We in Germany are trying to make medical marijuana available next year, not legal yet here. Could you, exact words, could you please, you smoke this, you eat this. It's Keith. I said, oh, I eat it. It doesn't sound big, but don't go, I eat it. She said, okay, please, you no smoke here. You eat all you need, but please, thank you so much. But the good thing about it, I'm going to stop, the good thing about it was the fact that this time, I'm going to tell you, in the industry, we probably heard from about 30 reps in the industry. I also heard from a couple politicians, and I also heard from a couple lawyers who are extremely powerful lawyers who were just saying, dude, if you need anything, we will get you out of this. Because they thought I was going to be trapped in Germany. Unfortunately, I made it back, got out, and of course, before I travel anywhere internationally, I will check my bag. And even here, I will check what I'm doing. So I guess the point I'm making about the 3 stops, this last one, I got a lot of backup. The reason why I came here today is because I want you guys to back me up right now in this industry in Florida. Listen to me. I'm moving here. I need my meds. I want real meds. I want to be able to use my meds and not feel as if I'm a criminal by the way I do it. And I want you to help me get the word out that we need. Every time you hear about me, I'm going to try to get as much press as I can, to go on as many television stations as I can. When you hear I'm going to be at the Capitol, I'm going to be XYZ, please come out. Let's show them the numbers, that's one. And then, 2, as a member community, I'm also going to be working on other initiatives here than just cannabis. I'm strongly involved in concussive and traumatic brain injury, and I'm going to remain dedicated to that. And I'll also be working along with other growers and people here, because I'm going to tell you, though we think we have the expertise, and I'm not acting like I have it all, but if you look across all of the industry magazines in the last month, and all publications, the company that I just founded, which is called Limited Labs, we're the only ones in the medical marijuana space that Forbes has evaluated, and now we've probably gotten the cover of almost every single one of the industry magazines. And why? Is because I'm extracting, again, a cannabinoid. Thank you. Hello.
You start over.
But I'm extracting it in a way that I've talked to several people here that are patients. And I cannot wait to get our product on the ground here. What I'm doing is a supercritical CO2 extraction, double distillation, and I'm doing a single wash, I'm mineralizing, and I've made an oil now that is vaporable, edible, meaning you can put it right on your finger and eat it. You can put it in a vape pen and use it. You can smoke it if you want to put it on a leaf. You can even dab it if you want. And in any one of those versions, that oil will, and I've done so by formulating titration levels. The first number I'm going to give you is the number for THC. The second number I will give you is for CBD. So we have a formulation now that is a 10-90, a 30-70, a 50-50, a 70-30, a 95-5. These are all THC to CBD, and then they are re-terped, not for flavor, but for bioavailability and titration level. So I put together a package of cannabinoids that I want the patient to titrate themselves to the level that they need to have and not be forced to overdose each time. And with that being said, there will be a lot of speakers here today. Lots of people talking, lots of people sharing information. I'll go back to the last but not least. Get it yourself. Please, recognize some truth. Look it up. There's information out there. If you just look up the U.S. government's patent on THC and CBD, it will lead you to 50 other websites that will give you information that will let you understand that we have 280 million people headed towards another railroad track or railroad train that are going to need a medication that's going to be available. And if you don't understand why we have the opioid problem we have in America, do you know that this country, the United States, which is less than 5% of the total world's population, consumes over 80% of the world's opioids? We consume it. The rest of the world doesn't even get a chance to get it. And there's a reason why we've been in war in Afghanistan. We protect the poppy fields to no end. We work with the Taliban to protect the poppy field and not stop the flow of opioids that we as a nation are addicted to. Listen to me. We can stop that addiction by using cannabis, not as a gateway drug, but as an exit drug. Thank you. Let's have a